recorded, do you give us your consent?
I do. For the purposes of being interviewed for Mrs. McMahon's class and no other purpose whatsoever.
Okay. Do you think it is important for police to say the Miranda rights when arresting someone?
I do. I know that in recent years the Supreme Court has made some exceptions, and sometimes it makes sense. On the other hand, I think it's very important because it's a clear rule that police follow. They know how to follow it, and it protects not only the police officer but the person being arrested.
If someone pleads the Fifth, does it have to mean they're guilty?
Not necessarily, although it's often interpreted to be that way, that if someone won't testify, that they're assumed to be guilty. But there are many reasons that people don't testify, and juries are instructed not to take that to mean that someone is guilty. So we do have to protect those rights. The burden is on, in a criminal case, on the prosecution to prove somebody's guilt without them having to testify.
Okay.
Do you think schools should have a probable cause for a search?
I don't. I think while the general standard for search and seizure is to have probable cause, I think that's a high standard to meet. I don't think schools should have to meet that high of a standard. I think schools are special, and we have special circumstances in terms of dealing with students, people under the age of 18, safety circumstances. So I think the standard for schools is a reasonable suspicion, and I think that's appropriate for schools.
Where can police search, and what can they seize or take a hold of under warrant?
They are limited by the warrant, so they can only seize and take and look what is listed in the warrant. Sometimes you can have very broad warrants that can say someone can look any place in the house, or whatever location you're searching. But even in those cases, they are limited by what they're looking for. For example, if they are searching for an elephant, they can't open your dresser drawer because an elephant can't possibly fit in your dresser drawer. If they are searching for drugs, however, drugs can fit any place, so they pretty much can tear your house apart, take down ceiling tiles, anything like that, because drugs can be any place. So they're limited by what's written in a search warrant.
Can police conduct a search without a search warrant?
Yes, they can in certain circumstances. There's about 8 exceptions to the warrant requirement, and they make sense. It's if you're in hot pursuit of somebody and they run into a house, you don't have to stop and get a warrant to get the person. If it's for safety issues, to get a gun away from somebody. If you are arresting someone, you can do what's called a search incident to an arrest. You can pat somebody down for safety. You can, if there's a chance that evidence is going to be lost, you can seize that evidence.
For the Sixth Amendment, it was originally used to protect people from potentially abusive government. Do you still think it is used and lived up to its standards?
I do. I think it's one of the most important amendments that we have to protect the rights of the accused. It has so much in it. The right to have an attorney, the right to a jury trial, the right to a speedy trial, to confront your witnesses. I think it encompasses so many things that make it necessary to have a fair trial.
A big part of the Eighth Amendment is the death penalty. What is your opinion on the death penalty, and has any new information over the years changed your opinion since you became a lawyer?
My opinion has not changed. I disagree with the death penalty. I understand why the Supreme Court upholds it, as long as a majority of people in the United States believe that to give the death penalty is not cruel and unusual. They're not going to overturn it based on cruel and unusual. It has been overturned based on that it has been applied in a manner that was cruel and unusual. And they've tried to fix that. Whether they have or not, I kind of don't think they have. But one of the reasons, not just morally I'm against the death penalty, but I don't think it serves a purpose for justice in our society. It does not deter criminals, I don't believe, from committing first-degree murder. So it's not a deterrent. I don't believe, obviously, it doesn't rehabilitate anybody because we've killed them. And the only purpose for it is that it serves retribution, and I just don't think that is part of, or should be part of, our justice system.
Thank you.
Thank you.